My name is Ashley. I've dealt with depression and anxiety.
Hello, my name is Kiara Ford. I have dealt with depression back in 2015 when I was in a domestic relationship.
How you doing? My name is X. I dealt with post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, and anxiety.
My name is Kiara. I deal with social anxiety and impulse control disorder and a little mix of like an addiction.
Okay, well, my name is Katora, and I am dealing with anxiety and depression.
My name is Anita. I know someone who's dealt with anxiety, depression, multiple personality disorder, bipolar disorder, and schizophrenia.
So my name is Sydney, and I've dealt with depression.
The traits of the system after everything happened, I went into a totally depression mode where I slept for days in my room. I didn't want to see anyone. I stayed closed off, and I was just in shock that it happened to me because I nearly lost my life.
Dealing with depression, sometimes you can be I was in denial. I ain't really, well, not even denial, just unaware. Like, I'm really depressed. Post-traumatic stress disorder, that was like, once again, not really aware of what was going on. I would be like in certain situations, or not situations, or like I would. Okay, well, I got shot in the gas station, so I would be in gas stations and like really like I could be sitting just as calm like this, but on the inside it feel like it's so much going on around me, and I'm just ready to leave the gas station. That I didn't really understand like what that was.
I've been dealing with depression a lot longer than I thought I have. I didn't realize I was depressed. I was young and depressed. I was probably about 10 and depressed. I isolated myself a lot. I wrote a lot of poems. Writing was a way I kind of expressed myself, but in a way they weren't the most happiest poems. There were a lot of poems about just dying and blood and things of that nature, but it helped me get out the sadness I was feeling.
Social anxiety is basically just like I like have a fear of going outside basically, or being in social situations. It makes me feel uncomfortable. Like I feel like, you know, maybe people like are viewing me differently than I view myself. With anxiety, I shake a lot. So I first noticed it when I was like in 8th grade. It was like my first time being in a big setting, like you know, with a lot of group of kids. And we were in the lunchroom, and I was in the line about to pay for my lunch, and it was so hard for me to hand over the lady my money because I was like shaking like so hard, uncontrollably. It was embarrassing actually.
Well, battling with depression because it's like an ongoing thing. I felt alone. I distanced myself from people. I've tried self-harm. Yeah, that's mainly the feelings I feel when going through something. Like I feel alone, and even though it's sometimes I put myself in that position, like I distance myself, but before that I already feeling like nobody understands, or nobody really cares, or they don't care as much as they claim they do. So that's what goes on in my head and how I feel when I'm in that dark place.
1 minute they're happy, the next minute they're angry. With anxiety, it can flare up at any time. Sounds, ringtones can like give you anxiety. Sceneries, not just people, voices. They're very panicky and fidgety. They can't like sit still.
So I've had signs since I was 4, but I've never like actually dealt with it. I've just cut myself off from everybody. I didn't want anybody touching me or anything like that. I always just lock myself in the room. I wouldn't cry, I wouldn't do anything. I'll just sit there and people will talk to me, I wouldn't say anything back. I'll just sit. It affected a lot of my whole entire life, actually, because I've never like had that relationship with my mom like everybody else would have with their parents. Like my dad wasn't there for me, so that brought on the depression as well. And he would always do for my brother, but he wouldn't do for me. And I would see it, and he'll portray himself as that good father to other people, but he wasn't. And it affected me because I'll cry about it, but I wouldn't say anything.
So my name is Ashley. I wanted to put this video together to shed light on mental health and mental health awareness because it's not really something talked about, it's really avoided. I wanted to shed light, bring it into the light, and be the light for other people who are still in the darkness and dealing with situations. With me being me saying it's not really talked about in Black community or in our families. Like I said in my own interview, I was really acting a certain way, acting out, and I was basically crying out for help, but in silence I really wasn't saying that, oh, I'm depressed or something is wrong. I was really hoping somebody would be like, okay, what's going on with you? Instead, they was like, she got a nasty attitude, and just leave her where she at. So I feel like, I don't know. I feel like that's common though. That's common. We don't really want to speak out because we might be labeled as crazy or judged. I really don't know, but it's many ways you can talk to people or get help. You can have a mentor, be spiritual, because I have God. I use His word to feed me and my spirit now. It's so many different ways to help yourself now, and that I'm learning now. So
I feel like a lot of people sometimes fear or shy away from the whole professional help situation. Going to see a therapist actually does help, because I see one, and that person being a total stranger, sometimes talking to a stranger and telling them and getting their feedback, and them knowing, obviously they're professionals, they know a little bit more about the topic, and just getting that feedback, it helps. They may not tell you exactly what you should do. It's never really a solution of what you can do, but it can just understanding what's going on helps so much. And like I said, it's harder, and especially hard for people to get. It's hard for people to talk to professionals because they feel like, oh, I'm crazy because I'm going to see some shrink. But it's not even really that. It's like going to the doctor.
Anybody ever took medication?
I have.
Yeah.
My medication that I took, it wasn't as helpful.
Yeah,
it intensified my suicidal thoughts and my depression. It just it's to a point where it came to where the medicine had me on suicide watch, where my mom and I literally had to take the doors off the hinges and had to watch me. Every sharp object was taken out of my room, and it was just sometimes I felt like I was being hindered. I was trapped in my own thoughts, and I couldn't just. And I have asthma, so it messed with that as well, and it made me lose my breath a lot. My anxiety I've been hospitalized 4 times for my anxiety and from depression. You have that sense of urgency that you want somebody to be there for you, and you need that, you feel that, and you mourn for it, but nobody's ever there until it's too late. And sometimes it'll be too late, and that's why I end up in the hospital.
I realized going to therapy, it wasn't that I needed someone to talk to as for that person. For me, I like to talk to people I trust and know me, but it helped me learn how to process my thoughts. So like you said, when I'm alone and I go through things that I won't always need to be able to talk to someone, I'm able to process it and get through it by myself, but I'm not doing something that's gonna hurt myself or damage myself.
Yeah.
I'm only 20. Yeah, I just turned 25, and by me, I got shot when I was 19, then I had an accident, maybe a year and a half right after that. But I got settlements from both of them, and I had a lot of money. But it's like you say, you got all the money in the world, and it won't change nothing. It won't change nothing because your mental, your mental ain't right to even handle what's really going out, and handle what's going on in your physical world. it's like we really need to focus on the mentals in the community more than we focus on anything else, because actually, in my opinion, everything is mental before it's physical.
That's true.
Yep, that's where it starts.
What I was told when I was younger is that we have too much of other things to deal with our mental state. As Black people, we deal with so much other stuff from the world that we forget about ourselves. We have to tell ourselves that just to keep moving, to just be able to get through the day. So having to go home and deal with your mental stuff, you don't want to do that either. So I feel like
The things that we go
that's
through
wrong, yeah.
in this world today, it's like it's going to have an effect on our mental health. So we have to pay that attention. And like he was saying, it's like we care more about our physical health, but it all starts in the mind too, and we forget about that. It's not like
Because the mental can affect the physical.
Yeah.
exactly.
And like you said, it's like we go through, like, especially as Black people, we have traumatic experiences, even though we don't, in our community, we don't say that things we go through are traumatic. And I feel like we have that problem, like you said, getting shot. Like a lot of people don't want to admit that that's a traumatic experience, or that messes with their head. And I feel like that's a problem too. Like we want to be so strong, and that's fine, but we have to realize that things happen to us too.
I feel like we're not educated right. That's why I feel not educated right. That was. I feel like that's the main problem. Because like she said, we don't label certain things as traumatic because it's so normal. Like I got shot. I wasn't the first person in my family got. My brother got shot 9 times. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so I only got shot twice, but my situation is 10 times worse. But even my brother told me like, you can do this shit, you tweaking. You know what I'm saying?
When Ashley brought this idea about the video, it was crazy because that's like kind of like what saved me. Like probably maybe not even a month ago, I was trying to like overdose on cocaine, and it was like I wanted help. I was about to check myself in to get help or whatever, but I don't know, something was telling me that like I started hearing voices in my head, and something was telling me like just get it out. And it was just like what I thought would make me feel better was just to tell my story and like see where that goes, like, because I feel like that's a part of the reason, because nobody knows my story. I walk around like I'm just, nothing's wrong with me, nobody knows. But it helps to get it out. So that's what I started to tell myself. I was like, one day I'm gonna write a book. And then like literally 2 days later she hit me with that, and I'm like, that's the sign.
One of my take-home points is that it's okay not to be okay. Number one, if you feel like you're not okay, don't ignore it. That's probably one of the worst things you can do is ignore it, because it's like a snowball. It's just gonna keep getting worse and worse and worse to a point where you're not gonna know what to do. You're not gonna be able to handle it. So, you notice something's wrong. You notice you can't talk to someone. Go and do it.
1, love yourself. 2, you got the power to do whatever you need to do. Like you have the power inside you to make it through. It's done.
Yeah, like I don't know, I think people should just really just learn to think for themselves. I feel like that's a factor in how you deal with,
My last piece of advice would be to be kind to yourself and be kind to others, and to know that it is power in the pain that you go through. Whatever you're going through, it's meant for somebody else. You're going to be able to help somebody else. So, my name is Ashley. I hope that something can be taken out of this video. I'm hoping and praying that anybody who has gone through any mental illness or mental health issue, you have learned something and you can help somebody else.